I think what I was trying to get at is that I don't try to compartmentalise things like, this time for that and this time for that. And I just think that it's good business sense to have different reasons for doing things. And when you have different reasons for doing things, that those things then lead to greater financial reward or a relationship that leads to something else. And a lot of that comes from integrity, I think. That's kind of number one, and the money's number two. And if you want to have a business if you want to get rich quick and have a business that lasts for a couple of years and make lots of money, then that's a different kind of model. But if you want to, I live my businesses. I've never done anything else. So my whole aim is to kind of be with my business and to live in my industry, to do what I do for as long as I can. And so you have to be able to pay your staff, and you have to be able to also hold your head up and, go to international markets and know that you've paid all your royalties and know that you've done the right thing by every movie and worked hard on every movie. And those motivating factors, doing things for those reasons, means that you build a reputation, you build a company, you build a brand, and that leads to things. So I think it's just about understanding all of that holistically rather than thinking about it in separating things.
Okay, great. That makes sense. Have we got a question from the audience over here? Could you stand up, please?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hello. Just it was mentioned before that you make your own value, but have you ever had an experience where you think your value is a clash to the market? So whether it was just the way the market perceives your value, or it was set by previous, competition in the marketplace that the value was set. So how do you adjust what you think your value is as opposed to what the market perceives it, or what it was set before?
Is that to me?
Oh, you mentioned it, but I guess it applies to everyone.
Well, it's subjective. Like, everyone measures value in a different way. I'm trying to understand the point of the question. You're asking me if someone responds with a different level of value to what I'm producing. Is that correct?
So say if someone, I imagine, undervalues by your own standards, undervalues what you do. How do you
Well,
fight
that's
back,
their
justify
choice.
it?
I'm not out there to please everyone. In fact, I really believe in polarising people. I'd rather people love or hate me. I just don't care if people think nothing of me. I'd rather be loved or hated. If people think nothing of you, then they don't remember you at all. So if you use demo for an example, it's $10. If someone wants to buy it, they can buy it. If they don't want to buy it, they won't buy it. So it's really up to the person receiving the work on how they judge it, and I'm not going to force anything upon them. I'd love them to love it, but if they don't, then that's fine. And if they hate it, well, that's fine too. So that's how it works. It's up to the audience to make the decision.
A lot of the time with our work, people will look at it and they're like, wow, that's really cool, I really like it, oh, I'll have that one. And you say to them, do you realise that's a scratchy card? And they go, no way, that's awesome. Or like the games, they don't realise that the necklace is actually a game. So with that, they don't actually realise the value that we've put into the object, but they think it's like an added bonus, and they get very excited at the end of the day. So,
do we have another question over here? Yeah. Just a sec.
My question is mainly geared toward Georgie and Milenka. Going from designers and makers, having a hands-on, very goal-oriented product, making the jump to doing something like a trade show or production overseas, is there any lesson you would give someone who is a designer maker and teetering on that ledge going, do I, don't I, how can I take that step?
Okay, this is going to sound really cheesy, but I'd just say don't be fearful. We actually got on a plane with hardly any research, and somehow, because we just believed in ourselves and that we'd just make it happen, and we went over there and we were riding around on scooters and just discovered kind of everything that we needed to. And we do take lots of risks, and we've had lots of failures as well, but that's just kind of the starting point of learning, I think.
That's a great point. Take risks. Don't be afraid to fail. Probably, we had a panel last year at Creative Sydney called Epic Fail, and it was one of the best sessions because it's always when people tell you about those times that they've failed and bounced back that you actually learn something from that process. Do we have one last question? We might just wait for a microphone so we can record it. Just a sec. She's working hard for this week. There we go.
I was just wondering how supportive you felt government was in all your risks that you had to take. Or did you have to rely on your own commercial, like your own money first before you could actually go forward in your risks?
So government, I think they're finally listening a bit more. It's a hard process. It's really boring constantly writing. It's like, I just want to do it. And that's the great thing about the commercial situation as well, is that you can, if they leave you alone, you can just do it.
Part of Hopscotch is a production company, and part of that production company did things like Mal's Last Dancer and Bright Star. Another film called The Boys Are Back, which is a Scott Hicks film. And we've just been given a grant by the government, which is a certain amount of money each year to develop projects. So we've become a development agency for the government, which is basically meaning that we can pay writers and directors and producers to actually and work with them at a script level and treatment level outside of the government agencies, so there's much more of a commercial interface for them to work with. And that started for us in February, and we've got 3 years on that contract, and we have about 20 films in active development right now. So, and they've also, the government through Screen Australia have, they put in millions of dollars into Mal's Last Dance and to Bright Star, films like this. So indirectly, yes, a lot of government support.
I just want to come back to a point that came up when I was talking to Jess a couple of weeks ago. And the idea is that money actually gives you autonomy and generating, and I guess not being beholden to anyone, because once you get a grant from someone or money from a client, they have expectations about the end product. And so the ability to, I guess, be your own funding agency and do the work that supports your own passion projects, your creative work, gives you the freedom to make choices and take risks in many cases, which I think all of our guests tonight have found a really interesting way of navigating that. So I'd like you all to thank our guests this evening.